Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a major discussion. We're here today to talk about our graduate programs in the Department of Speech and Hearing Sciences. We have Stephanie Broussard with us today, and she's the Assistant Director of Graduate Recruitment, and she'll be available to answer any questions. And then we also are joined by Dr. Monica Harn. She's our Chair of the Department of Speech and Hearing Sciences, and she's going to talk to us a little bit today about our master's program and our doctoral program. So I want to remind everyone to please mute your microphones, and also remind everyone that we are recording this session today. It will be available online at lamar.edu/visit. So if you want to go back and hear anything, or it will also be available for anyone else that wasn't able to join us today. So without further ado, we'll turn it over to Dr. Harn.
Okay, well, glad to be here and welcome everybody. So I'm the chair of the Department of Speech and Hearing Sciences, and we have two graduate programs. One is the master's degree in speech language pathology, and the other is the doctoral degree in audiology. So both programs are accredited programs by the American Speech and Hearing Association. And so what that means is that our curriculum, the competencies and skills that are components of our curriculum are consistent with what's required for certification and licensure in either speech language pathology or audiology. In speech language pathology, the program is a two-year program where the first year is really front-loaded with coursework to open up externships in the second year. And in the second year, the courses are online to have flexibility of externships so that students who don't live in this area can come for 1 year, participate in the on-campus activities, and in the second year have externships in their place of residence, or their anticipated place of residence. The audiology program is a 4-year program, and it culminates in a final year that is full externship. So at Lamar, we have a full clinic in both speech language pathology and audiology. So students get hands-on practice under the guidance of supervisors here in the clinic and related clinical rotations to really prepare them for externships. So that's kind of our program in a nutshell. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the program itself or the clinic.
What about the externships, Dr. Harn? How are those decided? Do the students get to pick, or do y'all tell them, send them where they go?
Mm-hmm. It's decided through an externship committee that's for both audiology and speech language pathology. So students meet with the externship coordinator, and we really look at kind of a mutual conversation between the students' needs, the direction that they want to go, and then the courses that they've taken, and then the needs that they may have in terms of clock hours or other competencies. So it's a kind of a reciprocal conversation. It's not just dictated.
Okay. How many days a week are classes on campus the first year?
Classes on campus are Monday evening and Tuesday, Thursday. But the on-campus clinic runs Monday through Friday. So you can have clinic rotations, clinic labs, and workshops throughout the week. And we work around the classes, but one class is a night class.
Do you know the price of both programs?
No, but if you go to our website for the program of the master's and the doctorate, that we have a drop-down menu for tuition and fees. You can click on that and it connects you to tuition for the university. We do have in both programs $1,000 scholarships for all students who are accepted, so that they, if they're out of state, that kicks in state tuition. So no matter what, students pay in-state tuition. So if someone's looking at that page, just keep that in mind.
Okay. We're getting some great questions, and I just want to remind everyone, I'm not sure if I said this at the beginning, if you have questions, you can use the chat feature and just type your question in, and we'll try to get to everyone. Another question is, due to COVID-19, how have the programs been changed? For example, are clinicals still available?
It's a very good question. Yes, they have been changed due to external factors, not internal factors. Currently, we have a full, hopefully by the mid to end July, document of how we're going to manage our clinic and externships in light of COVID. As far as I know right now, all of our students, with the exception of 2 to 3, have been placed in externships in the fall. We're working in a very highly flexible space. So for example, maybe if a student is in an externship, maybe there may be a delayed start and it may be extended longer than expected to make sure that the students get the full experience in hours. So things have changed right now. Everything that we're doing is keeping everybody online and in track for their anticipated graduation, and to make sure that they have the experiences and hours that they need.
Are students allowed to work while in the program?
We don't control that. Students, you know, of course can. We also don't accommodate it. So clinic schedules and activities are required and mandatory. You aren't allowed to miss any clinical activity. We're always concerned both about the students and the clients and the sites, and we have to be concerned about continuity of care. So those are non-negotiable aspects of the program.
I know we had one of our doctoral audiology students. She was a student worker in our office this past semester, and we worked around her semester and her classes and her clinicals and all of that. So I don't know if that helps answer the question, but that was a student job. But there's always student job opportunities available on campus, and they're really great about working with our students.
There are, and a lot of students work externally too, because they work at a place that really accommodates their schedule. So once they know their schedule, they can put their hours together. And we don't ever want to say for anybody what they can or can't handle. So some students, it may not be a wise idea for them to work. For some students, they're able to juggle some work activities along with clinic and classes. So, but that is one thing that I always tell students that ask me that question, because I do get that question a lot, that in light of the numbers that we have, that no one can give us a work schedule and have that be accommodated. But as JT said, certainly students do and have worked.
Are there any online classes available for the first year of speech pathology?
No.
Is the deadline okay, so we have 2 questions about deadlines. Is the deadline to apply still February? And then the other question that sort of pertains to the same thing, can you apply for the programs year round?
The deadline is February 1st for both audiology and speech language pathology, and that is for the fall cohort, and we only enroll every fall.
This question is from Alyssa. It says, I received an email on domestic graduate applications, which is due July 28th for fall 2020. Does this apply to the ology program as well? Do you know that, or Stephanie?
Maybe Stephanie could answer that question. I don't know what that's referring to.
No, so that email is, am I on still? So that email went out to all of our students that expressed interest in the university. So the deadline for all programs is July 28th, but as Dr. Harn mentioned, this program was back in February.
Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. Let's see. Oh, how selective are the programs? How many students get chosen for the programs each year, and how many students usually apply?
It is competitive. So in the speech path program, we enroll about 33 each year. And in the audiology program, it's 10 each year. And our number of applicants varies from year to year. Typically, we have about 100 applicants for audiology, and we have over 200 for speech language pathology. But the things that I always tell students is don't panic about that. That includes students who are applying to multiple universities, right? So it's not an original applicant per program. So there's a lot of movement after applications come in and acceptances go out as students make decisions on the program that they want to go to. So I always tell students, don't freak out, right? It's a lot of people. It's certainly competitive. You want to maintain a high GPA, good relationships with faculty, strong leadership activities, a good letter of intent. You want to put your best foot forward because it is competitive, but it's not unachievable. It's not unachievable.
Okay. We have a question about commuting. Noelle is asking about around a 45-minute to a 1-hour commute. Is that something that you've seen past speech language pathology students successfully accomplish?
Again, I think it can be tough. I think it depends on, where you're commuting from. On I-10, those commutes can be pretty difficult depending on traffic. So Houston, Baytown, Lake Charles. And again, we have a non-negotiable start time for clinic, for classes. And so it's really the student's responsibility to ensure that they're doing everything that they can to be on campus when they need to be on campus, considering the issues that they could come up with to commuting. So, sometimes students maybe will meet someone who has an apartment. Maybe they contribute to stay the night at that apartment a couple nights a week. So there are things that I've heard students do to kind of make that commute work, especially if they have like an early clinic on Monday, Wednesday, for example. It's not like you're here every day from 8 to 5. So I think that it just requires flexible problem solving if you do include a commute in your time. But students have successfully done it. Students have, shockingly, sometimes I'm surprised. I think I could not do that commute, and students do it, never late, attend everything. And so I'm always amazed at what students do. I think part two, we're talking 2 years, right? Anyone can do anything for 2 years when your end goal is to get that degree, and then you have your professional life ahead of you.
Will we have any new study abroad programs coming up, assuming COVID decreases in the coming years?
Certainly. Oh, certainly. It's just it's the unknown that I think can sometimes be difficult. So right now I couldn't say how, what, and where, but it's something that is a high priority in our department, and faculty have really wonderful applied clinical programming in study abroad. So I'm sure hopeful.
Yeah, well, aren't we all? Okay, let's see. Here's a question. What are some impressive qualities that Lamar looks for within potential students for the speech language pathology program?
That's a good question. We do a holistic assessment. So we certainly look at grades. We look at GRE scores also is a part of the whole of our consideration. And then we certainly look at the bigger picture of the students' experiences, activities, commitment to others, commitment to leadership. So we're really looking for a well-rounded individual who demonstrates abilities across the board, not just grades, not just a GRE score, but we also look at the other activities, like I said, leadership, service to others come to mind.
Well, speaking of GRE scores, because of everything with COVID, will they still be required for admission for the next cohort?
They're currently, yes. We're of course monitoring that. You know, we don't have our deadline, of course, is February 2021. So we still have some time to look at that. In terms of the GRE, students always ask about this. So if you have a GRE of combined of 280, you're guaranteed review. You're guaranteed review. So that sets a lot of minds at ease.
Okay. How far are the off-site clinic placements for audiology?
That's a good question. If that person wants to email me specifically, I can, you know, if they're really looking for specifics, I can share that with the externship coordinator in audiology. But oftentimes students will need to relocate possibly to Houston if you're from this area. There's not as many audiologists in this regional area as there are speech language pathologists. So sometimes that commute can be like to Lake Charles, which is about an hour away, or to Houston, which is about an hour away.
Okay. Are the first 3 years of the audiology program strictly classes, or are they a hybrid of classes and clinicals?
Classes and clinicals. The first year of clinic is on site here in our audiology clinic. And then there are like partial externship activities, in other words, not 5 days a week, that are external to the program.
Okay. And then what does a typical week of clinicals look like? Is it, they're looking for like a number, like an hours, 10 hours, 20 hours? What's the split?
In audiology in the first year, I would say a minimal of 10 hours, but that doesn't include labs and workshops associated with academic coursework. And then in speech pathology, I would say, you know, about 10 hours, but again, that doesn't include supervisory meetings, clinical labs and associated workshops and planning and that type of thing.
Okay. And I know you touched on this earlier, but we do have another question about the GRE score. What is considered a good score? And then they want to know what the average score of accepted applicants. I know you talked about the minimum score, but what's a good score for both?
Our average is about 296, just to give a range. But again, a score of 280 or more is guaranteed review.
Okay. When do offer letters, acceptance letters go out?
We have a requirement through our national agency that we that we can send out offer letters and whenever we want to. So typically with our deadline of February 1st, offer letters go out, let's say the beginning of March. But students don't have to respond until the deadline for response is April 15th. So after April 15th, there can still be a lot of give and take depending on where students decide to go.
Okay. Are there any graduate assistantships, scholarships, and we talked about this one, our study abroad opportunities available?
Say that one more time.
any graduate assistantships or scholarships available. And
Yeah.
also study abroad. We talked about that. That's sort of
Yeah,
area.
yeah, the assistant, you get $1,000 scholarship, and then there are scholarships that students can apply for too.
Okay. Brittany asked if you can give details on the weekly schedule for the first year of the speech language pathology program.
Monday through Friday. Potentially availability, 9 to 5, and then on Fridays till about 2.
Okay. And how does someone apply? What are the departmental requirements for the program, such as do they need to turn in a resume, a letter of recommendation, or what other types of information would they need to submit?
Sure. Again, if you go to our website under the master's program in speech pathology or the doctorate in audiology, there's going to be a drop-down menu, and it's going to explicitly state what you need and how to apply.
Okay. There's also a question from Alyssa. She says, I understand for externships you may be relocated to Houston, but is it possible to be relocated to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is where she lives, or is it possible for someone to pick their area if they're from another location that it might be available there?
Yes, you can. Our externships have ranged from, this regional area, Houston, South Louisiana, but then we also have students in California, Connecticut, Michigan, Illinois, Oklahoma, Florida. So within and beyond the state of Texas, students can be placed.
Okay. Hannah wants to know some strengths of the audiology program.
Many. They have active research engagement. They really have a significant focus on clinical practice. So students really get a strong foundation in basic science, to be sure, but also how that translates into what does it mean today to be a professional audiologist. So oral rehabilitation is a focus, along with hearing aid fitting and hearing aid testing. So I would say, true to really all of the faculty in the department, both speech pathology and audiology, that all of our focus is on clinical application. And so students who come here really have a strong clinical foundation when they graduate.
This question is looking to get a master's in order to become a certified speech therapist. I have AA degree. Which bachelor degree should I get in order to be accepted into the master's program when she is ready? That's from Bessie.
Okay, well, if you're have access to a undergraduate degree in communication sciences and disorders or speech and hearing, that's what you would want to do. Now, if you're, close to Lamar, we have students who transfer in with an associate's degree will typically have about 2 more years. So in the end, it ends up being a pretty traditional 4-year degree, 2 more years to completion of that undergraduate degree, because they transfer in all of the courses for their core curriculum. Oftentimes students with an associate's degree will have their lower level electives completed as well. And so it's a pretty straight shot from initiating here to graduating with the bachelor's degree.
Okay. Hannah would like to know, are there any community outreach programs through the audiology program?
Yes, there are many. We do a lot of audiology advocacy, awareness, and outreach, which includes work in the public schools and with the deaf co-op. So our student association also is notably engaged in outreach programs. So sometimes it's hard to keep up, frankly, with all of the activity that's going on in terms of outreach for preventative hearing health care, hearing screenings at health fairs, and then actual work to do screenings and support access to hearing health care.
Let's see, Jessica is asking if she graduates in December, what do you recommend she do to prepare for grad school? Should she take the GRE before she graduates with her undergraduate degree or after, or should she do it both? And do you think shadowing at SLP will help?
Yes, I think shadowing at SLP is a super idea. But really, I also think that if you, especially because of COVID, if you don't have the opportunity, anything that you can do that really demonstrates your initiative to be a part of the community, to engage in a volunteer capacity, to support individuals in your community. I think those kinds of things are great things to do. Don't feel compelled or like it's a bad thing if you can't shadow something, a speech pathologist, or do something specifically in speech pathology. In terms of the GRE, you know, my recommendation is always to take it sooner than later. That way, if you want to work on your score, you can. You know, I feel like if you have a lower score, even if that score doesn't improve, you want to demonstrate the initiative to you know, improve. Whether that happens or doesn't happen, I think that looks good on an application.
Okay. This question, what benefits would a student gain from earning their SLPA before attending Lamar's SLP program?
I don't know that you have a benefit. So I mean, I do think that we accept students who have a SLPA, and I do think that students who have a SLPA have a higher level of comfort when they initially begin therapy, because they kind of have the logistics down. So the learning curve for those types of things aren't as great, but I wouldn't say it's a necessary or a benefit above not doing that.
This is a really good question. Would it be okay to reach out to a professor and express interest in their research if I am a prospective student?
No, definitely.
Here's a question. I don't have a bachelor's degree in speech sciences. Can you discuss the leveling course process?
Sure, you can apply. It's a rolling deadline. You can apply at any time to start taking courses in spring, summer, or fall. We have 7 courses that are required, and those are on the website. If you look at the drop-down menu of our leveling program. 3 courses are in the fall, 4 courses are in the spring. While not guaranteed, some courses are offered in the summer. You don't have to be full-time. We've had students who maybe take a class a semester as they can, and then apply to graduate school.
Can a prospective student participate in some of the community outreach programs? This one is specifically for audiology.
If you're not enrolled at Lamar, then I'm pretty sure for audiology, the answer is no. In terms of accessing it through our department. Now, if it's a health fair associated with other community activities, you can access it through a hospital or other regional agency, that's fine, of course.
Okay. This is from Lindsay. She's in the process of getting her SLPA license in Louisiana. Do you find that assistants go back often to graduate school? And is their prior experience helpful?
Yeah, we have quite a few students who, for any number of reasons, work as a SLPA and then apply to graduate school. And as I said before, I couldn't say that one is better than the other, but I would say that a speech pathology assistant does have more experiences to build the portfolio in an application. And I think just generally when they start graduate school, those clinical comfort levels and experiences, I think aren't as high. You're not as nervous about starting because you have a sense of yourself as a clinician, your sense of yourself working with other people, your sense of yourself being on a team. And that's really, great experience to bring to the table.
Okay. This student says she graduated in December 2019 and has been working relatively to the field. Do I have to have letters of recommendation from my professors, or will my work coordinators and/or an audiologist I'm shadowing be fine for their letters of rec?
I always think that it's very important to have letters of recommendation from the professors from your program. So I think it's appropriate to have a work-related letter of recommendation when that work-related letter can speak to competencies that would make you a good professional. Okay. I don't necessarily think that shadowing someone could speak to that. So that's the main thing, is you want to ask yourself, is the person that's writing this letter someone who can speak directly to my skill set that will make me a good professional? And that's not, and I tell every student this that asks me these questions about letter of intent or letter of recommendation. We all love it, right? We're all passionate. We all want to help people. That does not make you uniquely suited to be a speech pathologist and audiologist. So when you have a letter of intent and seek out letters of recommendation, you want to make sure that they are directed specifically to what will make you a good professional. Critical thinking, attention to detail, a strong work ethic, high initiative, strong grades. Those are the types of things that you would really want to hone in on the letter of recommendation and your letter of intent. So I hope that helps.
This question is from Brittany, who is currently leveling through another university. She said the courses there seem to differ some. Would acceptance into the SLP program be possible before some leveling courses are completed?
Yes, because students can be accepted even if they still have like a course that they need to take. So for example, sometimes students don't have a standalone course in neurology, and that's one of our leveling courses. It used to be more flexible than this, but it's really not anymore. To be able to be certified, I have to check off basically that you have that course. So that's a course that you could take concurrent with graduate school.
And then Ashley wants to know some examples of leadership experience for the audiology program.
Sure, that can be things that you do within a department, like National Student Speech, Language, and Hearing Association at Lamar, Cardinal Communities at Lamar. That can be, if you're not from Lamar, it can be those types of things at your home university. Undergraduate research activity, volunteering. Someone asked about volunteering or just reaching out about prospective research. Things in your community, participating as a board member, for example, of a particular advocacy unit or outreach unit. Those would be examples of leadership activities.
Have we had students who are parents to young children succeed in the program?
Yes, all the time.
Okay.
A lot of our students have children and are very successful.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
and also good to know.
Yeah, it's a balancing act. And again, like with everything, my disclaimer is we don't accommodate. So that, is something that you would just want to think about in advance of how would you manage what you have going on. But I tell every student this: when I started as a leveler, because my undergraduate degree was in mass communication from McNeese, State University in Lake Charles. So I leveled in this program, had never even heard about speech language pathology. Thought maybe I would go be a teacher because didn't think it was going to work out in mass communication, and had a 6-month-old, and started a leveling program with a 6-month-old, and he was with me all the way through PhD. So it can be done. A lot of our students have more than one kid. And so, you know, for me personally, it's fun to have students who have children because I teach coursework in child speech and language. And so I think what they bring, like to course discussions, can often be just really fun to think about how they see it in their developing child, or if their child is in school, so on and so forth. So it's a long answer to that question, but yes.
Okay, and we're nearing our 40-minute time limit.
Okay.
So we've had some really great questions. I want to check in with Stephanie Broussard quickly and see if she has anything else to add that would be helpful information.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, these were some really good questions. I was taking notes myself. These are some really good questions. I just wanted to follow up on the scholarship opportunities, if I can, real quick. So for students that are Lamar graduates, we actually have a continuing Cardinal scholarship, where I know a lot of the speech pathology students have taken advantage of this opportunity within the last 2 summers. So basically it's a $2,000 scholarship, and you have to graduate from Lamar University with at least a 3.0 GPA. You have to participate in a campus-based program, which this is a campus-based program, and you have to start graduate school within 2 semesters of graduating. So a lot of those students will graduate in May, and then they'll start the program in the summer, and to where they're, you know, they qualify. So the funding is limited. So of course it's more so as students become available, or as we get the funds and we're able to disperse those funds. So if you have any questions about the scholarship, please feel free to contact me. I actually manage that scholarship. My email address is sbroussard11@lamar.edu. And we've already dispersed our summer funds, but we are looking for students for the fall. So just keep that in mind.
Thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Dr. Harn. I want to remind everyone that this will be available probably in a few days on lamar.edu/visit. And also, I'm going to try to share my screen so you can see my email address. If you have any questions, you can email me, and if I can't answer them, I will put you in touch with Dr. Harn or with Stephanie Broussard. But we'll get your questions answered if we missed out on any today. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and let us know if you have any questions. Have a good day, and everyone stay healthy.
Okay, thanks. Bye.